My beloved brothers and sisters, there are nights when your heart is heavy and sleep brings no peace. But there is one surah that, if you recite it tonight with sincerity, can calm your thoughts, guide your soul, and bring clarity even in your dreams. Because guidance from Allah often comes quietly when the world is asleep and only your heart is awake. The night your heart finally speaks the truth, my beloved brothers and sisters, every one of us has nights when the heart becomes heavier than the body, when the mind is full even though the room is silent, and when rest refuses to settle inside the chest. These are the nights when your thoughts begin to reveal things you ignored during the day, and the emotions you kept buried start rising gently to the surface. It is in these moments that your soul becomes more honest than ever, because night removes distractions and exposes what truly lives inside you. You may feel as if your heart is trying to tell you something you haven't had the courage to face. You may feel a quiet sadness that you cannot explain, or a tension that sits in your chest without a clear reason. Sometimes it is confusion about your future. Sometimes it is fear of making a decision. Sometimes it is the weight of unresolved pain, the kind you never shared with anyone. And sometimes it is simply the feeling of being lost even when your life looks fine on the outside. But understand this beautifully, these nights are not a punishment, they are invitations. Invitations for you to pause, to reflect, to turn inward and to turn upward. Night is when Allah brings you closer to yourself, so you can finally see what your soul needs. It is when your heart whispers truths that daytime noise always covers. Your emotions are not attacking you, they are calling you towards healing. When you prepare to recite a surah before sleeping, your heart becomes softer because you are entering the night with awareness instead of fear. You realize that guidance doesn't always come as loud signs or sudden miracles. More often, it comes quietly through moments like these moments where your chest tightens just enough to remind you that you cannot carry life alone and that you were never meant to. The calm you seek tonight is not far from you. When your heart feels fragile, it is actually becoming ready. Ready to receive comfort, ready to receive clarity, ready to receive guidance. And that is why reciting the surah before sleep carries such power. It aligns your heart with the one who created it, and it turns these heavy nights into nights of understanding, healing, and direction. The surah that brings light into the dark corners of your heart. My beloved brothers and sisters, there is a surah that many people recite often, but very few understand the depth of its comfort, the softness of its message, and the healing it brings when recited before sleep. This surah is Surah 93, Surah Ad-Duha, and its message is so gentle, so reassuring, and so full of divine compassion that it can change the way your heart feels within minutes. The translation of the beginning verses is simple yet incredibly powerful. By the morning brightness and by the calm of the night, your Lord has not left you, nor has He forgotten you. These words alone are enough to melt the heaviest grief, because they remind you that the one who created your heart has never abandoned it. Sometimes you may feel forgotten because life becomes difficult, quiet, or slow. Sometimes your prayers feel unanswered, or your days feel emotionally heavy. But the message of this surah is that silence is not absence, and delay is not rejection, and your pain is not unnoticed. This surah tells you that every hardship you face carries a hidden mercy. Every unanswered question is part of a bigger answer that is still unfolding. Every difficult phase is preparing you for something better that you cannot yet see. The surah speaks to you as if it knows exactly what you are going through, and it reminds you that the night is not meant to break you, it is meant to transform you. When you recite Surah 93 tonight, do not simply read the words. Let them settle in your heart. Let them reach the parts of you that have been tired for too long. Let them speak to the fear you carry quietly inside your chest. This surah reassures you that what is coming will be better than what has passed, and that the days you are praying for will arrive at the perfect moment. It tells you that Allah does not forget the ones who call out to Him, and He does not neglect the hearts that turn to Him sincerely. It tells you that your story is not over, and the chapter of relief may begin sooner than you expect. Reciting this surah before sleeping is like placing your worries in the hands of the one who can solve them. It allows you to surrender the weight you carried all day, and it invites guidance into your dreams, clarity into your thoughts, and peace into your night. And when your head touches the pillow after reciting it, your soul finds a calmness that no words from any human being could ever give you. When guidance reaches you even before you understand it. My beloved brothers and sisters, when you recite Surah 93 before sleeping, something subtle but incredibly beautiful begins to happen inside you. Guidance does not always arrive as a sudden realization or a loud awakening. Sometimes it comes quietly, in ways you only understand later. Sometimes it begins with a small shift in your heart, the kind of shift that makes you breathe easier, think clearer, and feel lighter without knowing why. There are moments when you read this surah and suddenly sense that the pain you carried is loosening its grip. You may not see a change in your situation, but you feel a change in yourself. And that is often the first sign that Allah is guiding you. A guided heart does not always receive answers immediately. It first receives peace. Peace is the doorway through which clarity enters. Peace is the sign that your heart is being prepared for understanding. This surah was not revealed during a moment of joy or ease. It was revealed during a moment of uncertainty, when the heart of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was heavy with concern. And yet, instead of criticism or warning, Allah responded with reassurance. This teaches you something profound. When your heart feels lost, the first thing Allah offers is comfort, not punishment. He reminds you that He has never left you and He never will. When you recite Surah 93 tonight, think about your own journey. Think about the times you thought you were alone but somehow found the strength to keep going. Think about the days you could have broken but instead grew. Think about the nights you cried silently yet woke up with hope you cannot explain. These are not coincidences. These are traces of guidance already touching your life even before you realized it. This surah reminds you that guidance can reach you without you being perfect, without you understanding everything, and without your life being in order. It reaches you because your heart is trying, and Allah responds to sincerity long before He responds to perfection. When you recite this surah, you are telling your Lord that you are tired of carrying everything alone and you are ready to be led by Him. And He is the one who never withholds guidance from a heart that asks for it truthfully. When you recite the surah slowly, letting each verse wash over you, your heart begins to release the fears it held tightly. You start to see that maybe the delay was protection, maybe the silence was preparation, and maybe the path you feared walking is the very path that will open your destiny. This surah teaches you that what you are seeking is not far from you. Sometimes it is just waiting for you to trust a little more, breathe a little deeper, and surrender the struggle you've been holding on to for too long. And as you close your eyes after recitation, you may notice that your heart feels different, calmer, steadier, more secure. That is not just relaxation. That is guidance beginning to move within you, shaping your dreams, softening your fears, and lighting a path that you could not see before. How the surah awakens strength you forgot you had. My beloved brothers and sisters, when you recite Surah 93 before you sleep, you are not simply reading verses, you are reminding your soul of a strength that life has tried to bury. This surah does not only comfort your heart, it awakens it. It brings back the confidence that hardship took away, the courage that fear stole, and the hope that disappointment dimmed. It reminds you that your story is still unfolding and that your Lord has written nothing in your life without wisdom. Every verse of Surah 93 is a message of motivation dressed in gentleness. It tells you that the past you survived was not meant to break you, but to prepare you. It teaches you that the future you fear may be far brighter than you imagine. It reminds you that the one who guided you through your darkest nights is fully capable of guiding you through everything that comes next. When you recite it, you begin to see that your life has been shaped by moments of strength you didn't even recognize at the time. You survived situations that others would have collapsed under. You held on when your heart felt weak. You smiled when your soul was tired. You pushed forward even when no one knew how heavy your struggles were. And look at you now, still here, still trying, still turning to your Lord. That alone is a sign of strength. That alone is a sign of guidance. That alone is a sign that you are worth more than you think. This surah tells you that the one who carried you this far has not forgotten you, not even for a moment. If He helped you get through yesterday, He will surely help you get through today. If He lifted you in the past when you felt you were falling, He will lift you again. And if He wrote comfort for you once, He can write it again, perhaps in a way that will surprise you, heal you, and rebuild you stronger than before. When you recite Surah 93 tonight, do it with the belief that you are not a weak person. You are someone who has been strengthened through hardship. You are someone whose heart has been tested but not defeated. You are someone whose soul has learned to rise after every difficulty. And this rise is not accidental. It is one of the most beautiful signs of divine protection in your life. Let the words of this surah motivate you to continue forward with trust. Let it remind you that you have survived enough storms to know that calmness always returns. Let it tell you that your worth is not defined by your past or your mistakes, but by your willingness to keep returning to your Lord, seeking His nearness and His guidance. You have more strength inside you than you realize. You have more courage than you give yourself credit for, and you have more guidance surrounding you than you can see. When you recite this surah tonight, let it be the moment you stop doubting yourself. Let it be the moment you remember who has been carrying you all along, and let it be the night you choose hope over fear, trust over doubt, and faith over anxiety. Because with the one who created you, the story of your life is always unfolding towards something better. The night when your dreams begin to reflect your faith, not your fears. Brothers and sisters, when you invite your heart to rest on a foundation of trust instead of anxiety, and that changes everything about the way your soul experiences the night. Dreams are not random. They often mirror the state of your heart. A troubled heart sees shadows. A peaceful heart sees clarity. And when you go to sleep after reciting a surah of hope, comfort and reassurance, your inner world begins to settle in ways you may never have felt before. This surah teaches you that your Lord has not left you and has not forgotten you. When you take those words into your sleep, they begin to reshape your thoughts, your emotions, and the silent fears you carry. You begin to see that your worries, as overwhelming as they feel, are still under the control of the one who never loses control. And your dreams become a space where guidance, direction, and comfort can appear more clearly because your heart sleeps with faith instead of fear. Many people wake up confused, lost, or unsettled because they sleep with heavy emotions, unresolved stresses, and doubts that cling tightly to the mind. But when you recite this surah, your heart releases the weight it carried all day. It breathes, it relaxes, it surrenders. And when the heart surrenders, the soul becomes free enough to receive guidance even in dreams. You may begin to see meanings you previously didn't understand, feelings that bring clarity, or signs that bring reassurance. Not every dream will be a direct answer, but the emotional shift you feel after reciting this surah is a form of guidance in itself. Sometimes the guidance you receive is simply waking up with a calmer heart, a clearer mind, or a stronger sense of direction. Sometimes it is waking up knowing what decision feels right, even if you don't know how to explain it. And sometimes it is waking up with the realization that the fear you carried yesterday no longer has the same power over you. This is one of the most beautiful effects of reciting Surah 93 before sleep. It reprograms your inner world. It gently removes the layers of doubt you have carried for too long. It washes away the emotional dust that has settled in your heart. It opens a space for insight, intuition, and spiritual clarity to enter your life without forcing anything. Guidance does not always come as a loud message. It often comes as a feeling that touches the heart in a way nothing else can. Think about how many nights you closed your eyes with confusion but woke up with unexpected courage. Think about the times you prayed for signs and then felt a sudden calmness the next morning. Think about the moments when you didn't know how to continue, yet you somehow found the strength to try again. These are not coincidences. These are the moments when your Lord gently guides you toward the path that is best for you, even if you do not fully understand how. And tonight, when you recite Surah 93 before sleeping, remind yourself that your dreams do not belong to fear anymore. They do not belong to confusion. They do not belong to the past that hurt you. They belong to the one who knows the deepest corners of your heart and the future that you cannot yet see. He knows what will heal you. He knows what will strengthen you. He knows what will guide you. And when you sleep with trust, you wake up with direction. So let this surah be your companion tonight. Let its message settle into your soul. Let it shape your dreams with peace and your morning with strength. Because when you sleep in remembrance, you wake up in guidance. And when you trust your Lord, you begin to see signs in places you never noticed before. That is the power of a heart that sleeps with faith. When your heart finally learns to trust the timing of your life, my beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest gifts of reciting Surah 93 at night is that it teaches your heart a form of trust that is far stronger than the fears you have carried. Life has a way of forcing us into moments where we feel everything is delayed. Our dreams, our healing, our progress, our answers, the things we desire, the things we pray for, and the things we quietly hope will happen one day. And it is in these moments that doubt tries to enter the heart. But the message of this surah tells you something profoundly comforting. Your Lord has not forgotten you, not even for a single second. Nothing in your life is late. Nothing in your life is missing. Nothing you lost was meant to stay. Nothing you desire is beyond His power. And nothing you pray for goes unheard. This surah reawakens a truth that the heart often forgets, that every season of your life carries a hidden purpose, and every delay is wrapped in a wisdom you will one day understand. When you recite Surah 93 before sleeping, you are not just calming your heart, you are reminding your soul that everything you are waiting for is already written for you, and it will arrive exactly when it is meant to. Not when fear demands, not when impatience demands, and not when sadness demands. It will arrive when your Lord knows you are ready to receive it without losing yourself in the process. You may not realize it, but many of your unanswered prayers are actually answered in ways you do not yet see. Sometimes your Lord says, "Not yet," because He knows you need to grow before the blessing arrives. Sometimes He delays something because He is protecting you from a pain you cannot imagine. And sometimes He holds you back only to release you at the perfect moment with a blessing far greater than what you asked for. This surah teaches you to trust that moment, the moment when everything begins to make sense, when the doors you believed were locked suddenly open, when the path you thought was blocked clears, and when the burden you carried for years finally lifts. And when that moment comes, you will look back and understand why the delay was mercy, not punishment. Why the silence was protection, not abandonment. Why the waiting was preparation, not rejection. Reciting Surah 93 helps your heart see this truth even before the change arrives. You begin to feel less anxious about the future. You stop begging for things that are not meant for you. You begin to release what is hurting you. You start trusting that your life has a direction even on the days when everything feels uncertain. This is one of the most beautiful signs that guidance is working within you, not through dreams, not through visions, but through a calmness that replaces your fear. My beloved brothers and sisters, you have survived enough difficult chapters to know that your Lord has never failed you. He carried you through heartbreak. He protected you when you didn't even know what was coming. He lifted you when you were on the edge of breaking. And He wrote for you moments of joy that felt impossible at the time. Why would He stop now? Why would He abandon the heart that calls upon Him at night with sincerity? When you recite this surah tonight, let it be a reminder that your life is unfolding exactly the way it is meant to. You may not understand the timing now, but one day you will. One day you will look back and say, this was the wisdom, this was the mercy, this was the perfect moment. And until that day arrives, keep trusting, keep hoping, keep reciting. Because a heart that places its trust in its Lord never walks in darkness, even when the path is not yet clear. Your story is still being written beautifully. And tonight, Surah 93 teaches you to trust the author. The moment your soul realizes you were being guided all along. My beloved brothers and sisters, when you recite Surah 93 before sleeping, there comes a moment, sometimes subtle, sometimes overwhelming, when your heart finally understands something it has been trying to grasp for years, that you were never walking through your story alone. Every tear you shed in silence, every fear you tried to hide, every night you slept with a heavy chest, every prayer you whispered while wondering if it was heard, none of it was unnoticed. None of it was without purpose. And none of it was without divine care surrounding you. The most beautiful truth this surah teaches is that guidance was never far from you, not even in your lowest moments. You may have felt lost, but you were never abandoned. You may have felt confused, but you were never ignored. You may have felt unworthy, but you were always being shaped gently by the one who knows your heart better than you know yourself. Your life has been a series of moments where your Lord carried you quietly, moments you did not recognize as mercy back then, but now make perfect sense. Think of the hardships you survived. At the time, you thought they were breaking you, yet they were building you into someone wiser, softer, stronger, more patient, more compassionate. Think of the doors that closed in your face. You thought you were being rejected, yet you were being redirected to something far better. Think of the people who left. You thought their absence would destroy you, yet it created space for growth you deeply needed. Think of the delays that frustrated you. You thought they were holding you back, yet they protected you from mistakes your heart was not ready to handle. This surah reminds you that every phase of your life, the joy, the pain, the confusion, the clarity was part of a divine plan tailored specifically for your heart. Nothing was random, nothing was wasted, nothing was without meaning. When you recite it tonight, your heart starts recognizing the hidden wisdom in chapters you once questioned. You begin to realize that even your silent nights were answered nights, even if the answer was not delivered in the form you expected. And now, as you allow the surah to settle into the deepest layers of your soul, it becomes clear that the guidance you have been searching for was already within you, in your resilience, in your patience, in your hope, in the fact that you kept turning back to your Lord even when life pushed you down. That is guidance. That is faith. That is strength. And that is a sign that your heart, despite everything it has endured, is still alive and still connected to its creator. When you sleep after reciting this surah, your dreams begin to reflect a new state of the heart. Not a heart drowning in fear and uncertainty, but a heart opening to trust, surrender, and clarity. You may wake up with a better understanding of your situation. You may feel more courageous to make decisions you previously feared. You may sense that something inside you has shifted, not dramatically, but gently, like dawn breaking slowly after a long night. This is the moment when your soul realizes that the guidance you prayed for is not coming from the outside, it is awakening from within. Surah 93 brings that awakening. It realigns your heart with hope. It restores the part of you that believed better days were still possible. It rebuilds the confidence life tried to take away from you. And most beautifully of all, it reminds you that your Lord has written a future for you far greater than the pain you have endured. So tonight, when you recite the surah, do it with the awareness that you are stepping into a new chapter of your life, a chapter written with mercy, shaped with wisdom, and guided with divine care. You are not the same person you were before you heard these verses. Your heart has understood something deeper. Your soul has softened. Your trust has grown, and your journey has become brighter. Because the moment you believe that Allah has not left you is the moment your entire life begins to change. My beloved brothers and sisters, as you prepare to end your night, remember something deeply comforting. Your Lord has never left you, not in your happiest moments and not in the nights when your heart felt too heavy to carry. Every tear you shed, every prayer you whispered, every fear you hid from the world, all of it was seen, all of it was heard, and all of it was taken care of in ways you may not yet understand. When you recite Surah 93 tonight, do it with the certainty that your life is still full of chapters waiting to unfold beautifully. Do it with the belief that the peace you have been praying for is already on its way. Do it with the trust that tomorrow can be brighter than today, because the one writing your story is the one who knows exactly what your heart needs. And when you close your eyes after reciting, let your heart rest in the assurance that guidance may reach you through your dreams, clarity may arrive through your thoughts, and comfort may come through a calmness you have never felt before. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. You are not walking without purpose. You are being carried, protected, guided, and prepared for something far better than what you fear losing. May tonight be a night of peace for you. May your heart soften. May your doubts fade. May your dreams bring clarity. And may you wake up tomorrow with more strength, more hope, and more trust than you had today. If this message touched your heart, remember to share it with someone who might need it tonight.